just not at the rate that would allow them to take these games yet.
Yeah, well, let's see what they can try to do on the next map. It's going to be Sky Temple.
Their map choice. So they go for the map choice here over the first pick.
It's of course a best of 2. It can end in a draw. That means 1 point apiece. BTG will be looking for that. Genji is going to be banned out by CE. Big part of, you know, Greymane hasn't been banned a lot yet. He's quite a high value assassin, but he barely gets banned.
Yeah, it feels... I mean, overall, it already feels that when we're looking at these teams, there's a really huge difference in meta, especially with ETC not even being picked or banned on the last map. You would never see that when Korea faces Europe, for example, or even with North America. So Greymane hasn't really made his way into any of the ban positions yet either. Oftentimes you still can substitute for him with that Vala that we've seen on certain maps where teams immediately try to go for the double support style then. For now, we have Rega as the early pick. Lucio and Dehaka are now taken for BTG, so they opt from the get-go into the macro style that they are starting to adopt a lot more than they did in the past. We've seen Falstad on the last map where they really try to mirror Dehaka and make sure that they have a global in their midst. Now on Sky Temple, we have of course also the importance of globals around the second temple phase in particular, so I already like that draft, but they give up a lot for it too.
I liked Falstad last game too by BTG, you know, in order for them to try and have a better macro. I think last game was still one of their better showings in the tournament, and Falstad was pretty good. Came out late though, and generally as good as he is, you don't want to take him too early because there's a number of heroes that punish Falstad fairly heavily, like Genji, who's already banned, but also Idolin, Zeratul, and a few others. Tracer, for instance. You just can't get away from them, and it makes you not really a global, but just kind of a slow backline normal assassin that has to stick with the team.
Here we have Greymane immediately taken. Also Arthas that first of all takes it away from BTG, so they can't use Arthas as a counter to Greymane and make his life harder with the engagers. Now Greymane as a pick was pretty obvious here, and that's the one thing that BTG really gives up. With their Lucio and Dehaka choice on the 1-2 rotation, they still allowed CE to get an easy Greymane combined with Rega and having Arthas now as well. So there's a lot of one-shot potential already after Howling Blast setup. They can still spec into a second tank if they want and get even more CC stacked. So let's see how exactly BTG reacts to it on the damage department, and if CE, for example, is willing to ban out something along the lines of maybe even Vala.
3 big concerns for BTG now. Kharazim, one of the premier secondary supports who deals damage. Abathur, who can combo so well with Greymane. And the third one is because I usually add one, and I hope that I come up with something as
ETC.
I get there. ETC, sure. Gonna be banning Abathur. Didn't need the third. Phew.
I'm personally a big fan of ETC and Arthas as a combo if your composition allows for it, just because you have so much CC and so much peel that no matter who you run in the backline, you can traditionally, first of all, create space for them, and they can really move far out to dish out the damage, and at the same time the CC that you stack allows you to be hyper aggressive in fights as well, whereas you can still use stage dive on ETC to jump through. In this case, it's CE that looks at the ban for ETC, with Dehaka already on the side of BTG. It would still be a very viable option for them. We talked about the ban on Abathur already a little bit, and I can only echo what you said, but also we have not only great symbiote targets with Arthas, Greymane, and Rega. Every single one of those heroes is a fantastic copy target as well.
Yeah, very much so. Generally, Abathur copy targets that are good are fairly high on damage and low on cooldowns. You don't want to take something like Samuro as a copy target because his cooldowns are too long. His mirror image 18 seconds, you can only use it once. So that's not very useful. You want to have things like Worgen Cleave that you can just keep spamming, using that bonus ability power and attack damage from Abathur to get some nice pressure and value.
Yeah. And even a double Arthas. Having a double Arthas in your backline or in your team in general, the team fight is just absolutely disgusting. Whereas a double Rega can keep everything alive, so it's pretty insane. So great ban on BTG's side, that's what it in the end comes down to. And talking BTG, with ETC now banned out, they are still looking, of course, for a main tank in this potential setup. We're having still quite a fair amount available here, ranging, of course, from the potential Muradin that he could use here. We have also Haven't really seen on this map in particular too much Johanna. I think only map that we've seen quite a fair amount of Johanna in this tournament was still Tomb of the Spider Queens, so that you have the extra AoE clear. Muradin is immediately locked in. Li Ming, so we have a setup also now where with the Stormbolt you can capitalize with a combo, get the damage in, and start to threaten.
Good choices overall.
And Uberog would have also been a hero that he can use here. But if an Uberog, would probably even more like it on the side of CE just for the additional setup when you start engaging.
Boss control is always important as well.
It brings me to Tyrael. That's still something that we could see here.
Tyrael Arthas is so good too. It's crazy. If you grab Tyrael now and Malf, walk through the Sanct, Twilight Dream.
Question is just, do you have enough damage if you come into those two?
Malf, Moonfire build, Greymane,
Tyrael.
Nice.
Karazim.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense too.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned him earlier, and then he kind of slipped through the cracks a little bit.
Exactly.
But especially if Muradin at any point, for example, jumps in a little bit too far, then you can immediately go for a 7-sided, and Greymane can capitalize on the kill. But still, Tyrael, of course, for the boss control is absolutely great, and they have a really scary setup here.
Malf is possible for BTG now. He gets bullied in one-on-one by Karazim so badly, but it is against 5 melee heroes. Twilight Dream, so good against hard engage. CE doesn't have a lot of range damage. So I do like Malf. It's kind of a glass cannon in this case, but he can really turn around fights in a big way. And it's a secondary support. If not Malf, what is good against 5 melee? D.Va is pretty good against that, but I don't think most other teams run it outside of Roll20.
I was wondering if they might commit to Cassia, which they played in the past quite a bit. The thing is, Cassia could really work for them, but okay, I didn't see that coming.
No, I did not see that coming. Cassia, I like it. I think it would have been really good. Alarak, he doesn't really punish heavy melee comps.
Now, I like Cassia for a couple of reasons. First of all, you have a very melee-heavy setup on the other side. You still have a decent amount of poke, especially if you commit to the Q build that we have not seen that much. And also, the blinds really work well against Greymane, against Karazim. So all of a sudden, you have a few tools to work with, especially when we're talking about potential control around the boss. They make the decision in favor of Alarak, and that alone is already scary.
So Alarak, let's talk about what works for him, because I think there's a lot that doesn't work for him here. Let's talk about what works.
That's a nice way of phrasing it. I like it. Always looking out for the positive side. I love it.
Yeah. There's 3 things that works for him here. He has an easier time completing his E quest because it's such a heavy melee brawling comp. Easier time for the Q quest also. And the fact that he can telekinesis and silence, 2 things, Discord Strike, both can interrupt Sanctification. They can remove much of the survivability that CE would otherwise have.
I am incredibly intrigued what the thought process behind him is, because right now, even though all the reasons that you state are obviously true, I'm not seeing him to have that massive of an impact. If they can really pull that off, that would be fantastic. I would love it. But it's still a choice, but I'm asking myself, okay, was that really the pick here? But we're going to find out now. Currently, CE is in the lead in the series with the 1-0, and we have them to the left in blue with Paradise on Arthas, KTY on Rhaegar, Aloof Fool on Karazim, Shuyu on Greymane again, and Wind will play it, Tyrael.
And here on the right for BTG, it's going to be ST on Alarak, A on Li Ming, 619 on Muradin, ZJZ, such a hard name for me, on Dahaka, and of course MJ on Lucio.
Yeah, Muradin holding his talent here.
Look at the Lucio level 1. Lucio level 1, the extra speed boost. After you get kills, while you are in a speed boost setting, you need it 5 times, and then whenever you speed boost, it's 60% bonus movement speed. So together with Alarak, who relies on sadism, which is PvP damage on his spells, they need kills. Now, Alarak gets sadism from kills and from hitting abilities, and Lucio needs takedowns, so BTG needs takedowns in order to get value out of 2 level 1 talents. Pretty crazy.
They are going even more down the aggressive route than they did in the games before, so it's just super interesting to see that approach here by them.
Yeah, I'm just surprised not to see Butcher in the lineup for BTG now with that kind of kill dependency.
No, it's just interesting because when they started drafting with Dehaka, I really expected them to try and go more for the macro style, and I guess Dehaka still caters to that. But overall, the entire comp now screams, let's team fight and let's brawl.
Yeah, and I guess Dehaka is just the one that has cleanup duty.
Yeah.
And the other 4 will go around and get kills. Liming gets resets.
You might as well get Leoric then and just put him onto the 2 lanes. Like, I don't know. At this point, I really want to see how this is panning out, because BTG is definitely not running what I expected them to do. And against CE's setup, it's going to be very difficult. Arthur's alone is already going to make it really rough. And once that we have level 10s and we're going to see Tyrael use the Sanctification in team fights, it should be even harder for BTG to get value with this lineup.
Well, let's see. Alarak's macro play is very weak. No, Liming doesn't die to Arthur's.
Yeah.
In a 2v1.
And now we have also Dehaka in trouble, and he's on the run. Well, good luck running away from Arthur's. And yep, he can delay that maybe a little bit, but in the end, Dehaka is still going to fall. So that's a double kill at the top lane for CE. And in the meantime, they're also taking or starting to take control over the shrine in the middle. Not really the start that BTG was hoping for. Not at all. Maybe with the kill against Shuyu?
Yeah, trying to, but he will not. No stack on his quest.
Nice body blocking by Wind here, and Shuyu gets out. Does not only get out, he kills Lucio before that. And now we're seeing Muradin also on the run. I mean, this game is not off to a good start for BTG. 0-3 in kills, losing the shots in both temples. I mean, that is...
Yeah, don't get us wrong. Like, we're actually... We talked about this before. We're excited about CE getting 2 points and becoming the leader of, you know, the Chinese 3 teams, trying to make it to top 4. It's just like you want the underdog to catch a break. You want BTG to get you know, to get some value, and you see such a daring pick, and yeah, that's why you cheer for them. But good moves, obviously, by CE.
Yeah, CE is playing this fantastic. Just take a look at the bot lane, for example. We currently have them pushing through the Siege Giant camp. They went through the entire wall. Now the fountain is being attacked, and it falls. So that also means that once we have the second temple spawning at the bot lane, CE has a retreat path where they can simply say, hey, let's just back off out of the fight, go for a full reset, tap the fountain, top off mana and hit points, and go back into the battle. Whereas BTG has to make it... Yeah, once they engage, they have to either see it through or then retreat and move back onto the lanes. If they, in this position, even go for the second temple, because arguably it would make more sense for them to try and capitalize on the 3-lane experience.
Yeah, get like a bruiser camp, do like a 3 to 4 man top push, that kind of thing. But as it stands, CE is in the driving seat. They are pursuing Zed out of the lane with a 3-man push. Late siege camp capture by BTG. They are now still in the process of protecting that. In the meantime, giant push here at the top.
CE is absolutely wrecking BTG. I mean, this right now, this isn't even close. I like the rotation here. That could finally give them some value.
Nice
and that is where Lucio comes into play. We could see Alarak having that impact that they were hoping for. Nice combo, and then the drag, but Shuyu still escapes. This is a 3 versus 4, and they are just losing everything.
Yeah, 3v4, triple kill by CE. Only Lucio gets away. Pretty crazy. They had a nice combination of... Hey, wait, oh no, wait, who did Karzim kill?
I think it must have been... I don't know, they died too fast. Was it Liming?
No, yeah, Alarak, it was Liming. It was Liming. Yeah, because it was Murdin,
We have a 3-level lead as the second temple activates.
Pretty crazy.
I have never seen this big of a lead on Sky Temple in a professional
Correct.
game.
I mean, I heard you yesterday in an apparent blatant lie that you said the early game of Sky Temple can be a little scripted.
Yeah, it can be. In this case, it isn't. I mean, usually you are heading with maybe half a level, if so a level difference into the second temple phase. That already is considered to be a pretty big lead. We are talking 3 levels at this point.
Yeah.
At this point, CE just doesn't really... I mean, You can do everything. You
Yeah.
can push for a keep if you want. You can go for boss. You can take the temple. This is brutal.
You can have it all. Heroes of the Storm.
At this point, it's like Pokemon.
CE, I think, you know, CE can just go for the boss, and they should and they will. And barring a big blunder or shocker, BTG does not come in here and steals that.
Okay.
Level 10 versus...
So we're a bit blindsided by BTG, and I mean, we've been harping on this, but I also want to say a bit, okay, what could they have done differently? So first of all, what was really transparent is that they had, despite them using Lucio and having quick rotations between lanes, they had a very rough time to react to the moves that CE put on the map. It was very transparent when we had 3 heroes and a Night Camp pushed through the top lane. That was telegraphed for
ages.
Yeah, for ages. So what should have happened is that the Haka is not alone defending it for so long. The rotation should have happened faster, and they need to just at least mirror the number of heroes on the lane if you're behind there. Soak the experience and make sure that your opponent doesn't take more structures down. So that is definitely something that BTG could have done. Not try
the tornado, what a troll tornado, did you see that? Like 5-second lockdown into a push, nice Kerrigan combo by the boss into the Howling Blast.
I'm just feeling bad right now. It's like a 7-minute keep, and they could go for core here.
Yeah,
and they should.
Army of the Dead will soak some of the core shots.
CE is putting on a clinic, boys. I mean, there's nothing else to say. 8 kills against 0. The core is going to fall here. This is going to be a quick one. BTG doesn't even reach level 10 abilities.
Level 10!
There we go. Okay.
But no time to pick.
Yeah. I'm going to go out on a limb here and claim that Alarak didn't quite have the impact they were hoping for.
No, I mean, you know, this was a very heavy emphasis to try and get some team kills. What with the Alarak, the Lucio level 1 talent that both never really took off. And you look at the comp for BTG, there's one hero with wave clear, the Haka. Now, Sky Temple isn't the most wave cleary of maps per se, because the map objective is so strong. So if you kind of just hold your own, that's fine. But even simple bruiser camps, which should not be too much of an issue, took ages to clear.
Yeah.
You know, rotations around. But it kind of started with those early game deaths. And, you know, BTG, they don't come here and have a big mouth, so it's not like they thought that they were going to do amazing. They knew they're going to be probably, you know, bottom seed, but I just feel bad for them. But
yeah.
Good job by CE. One of the biggest wins, biggest map wins, biggest differences so far.
BTG came in and said from the get-go, we are the underdog here, we are here to learn, and they are showing that in certain games, not so much on the Sky Temple match
up and
that
down.
they just played. It's up and down. I feel overall we can still say it's a bit of an upward trend, especially watching a lot of their scrims. As we said before, they put in a lot of practice. They have a great work ethic. More so than any other team, they're the team that is at the practice area early in the morning and scrims against no matter who's there right away. So watching their scrims, they're definitely improving, but again, it's not as the speed of the other teams here at the tournament right now. Sky Temple definitely wasn't their map, didn't work out for them. The straw that broke the camel's back was definitely when they were trying to gank the top lane. It was a 4 versus 3, and not only did they not kill anyone, they lost the fort and lost 3 heroes in that attempt.
Yeah.
And from there on, there was just nothing to gain anymore.
Paradise MVP got some nice kills on Arthas and some, you know, bad odds in terms of heroes, but he knew exactly what his hero could do. Good judgment there. That was the last match of today. We got a very cool match coming up tomorrow morning. It's going to be SPT versus Dig. This will be at 6 p.m. of course, Chinese local time. That's going to be 11 a.m. in Amsterdam. And I believe...
I love that you use Amsterdam time. It makes so much sense.
It's the center of Europe.
It makes perfect sense.
Not Dutch, by the way.
I didn't see that coming.
SPT versus Dignitas. I think that's going to be pretty cool. Roll20 versus Ballistics later on. CE versus Fnatic. And BTG versus KSV.
CE Fnatic
thoughts on BTG KSV?
It's going to be close.
No, but CE Fnatic is going to be cool, right?
Yeah, that actually is a match that should be fairly interesting. And also, I'm a bit interested to see how SPT does, because coming in and watching the first 2 days, for me, it was very transparent that CE would be the best Chinese team. SPT didn't convince me, but then they had a few games just in the last 2 days where I said, I underestimated them. They are better than I expected. I'm not quite sure where that puts them, but I want to see how they do against Dignitas tomorrow. I would still say that Dignitas is the big favorite going into the series.
Yeah.
But for me, it's not only about the result. I want to see how close these games are going to be, if SPT maybe can surprise them, can show something that we haven't really seen. Because the one thing that we still have to point out again is, heading into the playoffs, we actually switched to the live patch. So there are a couple of strategies that most of the teams here have that they're now willing to show, since they really just relate to the current patch that we're playing here. So that could make things really interesting if someone has still something saved up.
Right. Tomorrow will be the second last day of the group stage. Day 6 out of 7. It's been 5 really cool days so far in this round-robin best-of-2 group stage. You say Dignitas SPT. My favorite match probably tomorrow is going to be Roll20 versus Ballistics. Now, I know Roll20 took us on a roller coaster of emotions today. They had some amazing games here against KSV. You know, that second game they nearly won, then didn't. They had some great games against Fnatic. Yeah, you know, it's heartbreaking. You know, they give you hope and they do a lot of good stuff, good rotations, cool draft.
Q's kill against Karazim was so good.
Yeah, you know, his kill against Murden as well on Vala at that top lane, dodging the ball, chasing all the way around the Rosie. Was a lot of cool stuff.
And to be honest, I feel, I mean, we all talked about it yesterday, Roll20 should have won against Fnatic too. I think the series that they have against Ballistics tomorrow could be very close. You look at it and immediately mind jumps to, easy. Korea, of course, they're going to dominate here. But Ballistics has shown a bit of weakness, especially if they put SC on a second support. So if the draft works well for Roll20, they have definitely a fighting chance there.
And now if Roll20 were to somehow win 2-0 against Ballistics tomorrow, this is the updated standings, they would have 6 points. Ballistics would stay at 7, gets Roll20 a little bit closer. If CE can win against Fnatic, they'll be 7 and Fnatic will be 6. They would effectively overtake them. Very important game. Now, it's not likely. I see a little look of skepticism on your face.
No, not me.
It was love then.
Always.
Here are those matches of tomorrow. What is you guys' favorite? I'm looking at Roll20 Esports, Ballistics. Kaldor wants to know what's going to happen at SPT, Dignitas. And there's that one guy out there who believes in BTG versus KSV.
Think about how insane it would be if they actually win a map there.
That would be so crazy. 2-0 BTG versus KSV.
The first map that they win...
Retire instantly. Just, we'll never get any better than that.
Exactly. They get the first kill and just like stand up and walk away from it. It's like,
just spray MVP Black spray and just stop.
Yeah, that could be a bit of a rough one. I feel this is going to be a bit of a speed run for KSV Black, to be honest.
Probably.
They're going to look at CE today and it's like, what was that? 7 minutes on Sky? Yeah, we can beat that.
You let them get level 10?
Okay, tomorrow could be a bit rough, but for BTG, but we have 3 fantastic games. Roll20 versus Ballistics is going to be pretty great. CE versus Fnatic could be interesting as well. We want to see how strong the Chinese teams are. So yeah, tomorrow's going to be good.
Think so too. And then we have one more group stage day. After that, there'll be 2 days of break. And then we're going to move to the National Aquatics Center, the Water Cube here in Beijing, China. And it's going to be a few days of playoffs. I think with a live audience as well. And it's just going to be a different setting with the players under a little bit more stress. That is going to be a knockout stage with upper bracket and lower bracket. And the top 4 teams of the group stage will go to the upper bracket and the bottom 4 teams will go to the lower bracket.
And of course, we're also going to be in the live patch by then, so that is going to add a bit of extra spice to it. But guys, this is it for today, so we're going to see you tomorrow for the next day here at the GCWC and a couple of fantastic games. Stay tuned and we'll see you tomorrow.